The Mangkwan Clan, who are better known to the majority as the Ash People, are a new mysterious and more hostile group of Na'vi who will appear in the new sequel Avatar Fire and Ash, which is set to premiere in December 19th of this year. Their name Mangkwan already holds a great dissimilarity with other clan names. Theirs doesn't follow the usual patterns of the Na'vi language. It uses a sound combination KW, which is Kur for Mangkwan, one that doesn't really exist in the native tongue, which might be a clue that this clan has broken away from the rest of Na'vi society, not just in behavior, but in identity too. It's like a group changing their name and accent to distance themselves from the old culture. The franchise's linguist, Paul Frommer, also acknowledged this linguistic inconsistency in the Na'vi language, hinting that an explanation may come later in the movie or maybe in a future interview. So originally the Mangkwan were a regular forest tribe, likely similar to the Omatikaya, as was said in an Empire magazine article, that they live a life not too dissimilar to the clan of Jake and Neytiri, even having a home tree. But everything changed when a massive volcano erupted and destroyed their home and village, wiping out their connection to nature and to Eywa, which is the guiding life force of the planet, kinda like a hive mind goddess / presence of nature. So during the eruption, their entire village was turned into a burned, ash-filled wasteland, like the desolation of Smaug, and the survivors became hardened by the disaster. This backstory was first hinted at in the comic called Avatar: The Next Shadow, where some exiled Na'vi from the Omatikaya tried to find the Mangkwan clan, hoping they'd be taken in. That says a lot, even though only a few words were uttered about them. But just by that, we can gather that the Mangkwan are seen as the last stop for Na'vi outcasts, a place where even murderers might be accepted, and a clan that is avoided by others or even considered as untouchables or outcasts. See, after the volcanic eruption and losing everything, the Mangkwan survivors became bitter. Instead of turning to Eywa for help or guidance, they seem to have turned their backs on her entirely. There's no official word yet, but fans believe that the Mangkwan might have started worshipping fire itself, something Eywa couldn't protect them from. Their land is volcanic. They use fire in battle, and their leader Varang even uses a flamethrower, a human weapon, which hints that they might consider strength as a more valuable quality to empathy and living in balance with Eywa. It's like they've replaced their nature goddess with something harsher and more destructive, almost like some ancient cultures in the past would worship a volcano god after a massive eruption. So, it is plausible they have created or accepted a new god or force into their way of life, one of flame and fury. To them, Eywa failed to protect them, and thus she has no dominion over the place where fire is power incarnate. It is not surprising to find out that the Ash people do not follow the 3 laws of Eywa as well, which are basically the Na'vi's version of the 10 commandments, but with no Mount Sinai, they only get 3. These are, you shall not set stone upon stone, neither shall you use the turning wheel, and nor use the metals of the ground. These laws discourage behaviors that lead to environmental domination rather than coexistence. Building with stone, using wheels, or mining metals are seen as steps toward creating a synthetic, unsymbiotic civilization that disrupts Pandora's biosphere. Instead, the Na'vi live in harmony with living systems, using biodegradable materials and integrating their lives with nature, embodying a sustainable, low-impact lifestyle that avoids the extractive and isolating tendencies of, industrialization. The Mangkwan here breaks all of these rules. They take in killers, they use weapons and tools that harm nature, and they seem to ignore Eywa completely. In many ways, they are like rogue factions that behave and believe survival is more important than morality or spirituality. Now, when we take a look at their morphology, physically the Mangkwan are still the same kind of Na'vi as the Omatikaya. They are not the sea-adapted ones like the Metkayina, who have wider arms and flat tails for swimming, and webbed feet and webbed toes and fingers. They're actually the same race with the Omatikaya, with little to no differences at all. But where the Omatikaya value family, harmony and connection, the Mangkwan seem to be a mix of exiles, criminals and Na'vi who have given up on the old ways. So imagine a post-apocalyptic tribe built on survivors and warlords. That's them. Their traditions are also dark. They cover themselves in ash, blood or red paint, and some even wear bags over their heads. In early artworks and in the trailer, most of them look thin and bony. Well, except for their leader Varang. That hints at a society where one person holds power while the rest struggle. Comparatively, it brings to mind real-world dictatorships like, the North Korean Kim Jong-un political entity, or the historical cults like Jonestown. They also ride a different creature called the Nitrate, which is a more massive creature which seems to be their version of the Banshee Mount, but larger, more vicious, and more related to the Tetrapteron species. The Mangkwan, like other clans and tribes, have their own Olo Ektan, which is their clan leader, and this role is taken up by a female called Varang. She is not just another clan leader, but also meant to be an overarching villain, as James Cameron calls her a strong and vibrant central character, who's meant to play a big role throughout the entire saga, possibly appearing in Avatar 4 and 5 as well. She has a very distinctive look. She wears what seems to be severed queues, which are those long braids that Na'vi use to connect with other creatures and Eywa. Some fans earlier thought that this meant that her people cut off their queues as a rejection to Eywa, but the trailer and images show that she and her clan still have their queues. So now people believe the queues that she wears are trophies from other Na'vis she's defeated and killed, almost like how warriors in some cultures wear enemy scalps, necklaces of ears, or war feathers. She also has a vibrant feather, a headgear that encircles her head, which is red in color, which looks like a crown meant to symbolize her authority or a connection to the fiery nature of their philosophy. She also is seen to play with fire, something that we never see the Na'vi do, and she has strange tattoos. And Varang here is more than a villain. She is meant to be the embodiment of what happens when spiritual abandonment, loss, and rage ferments into something darkly organized. She is hardened by suffering. She's become a militant protector of her people, but one who has replaced empathy with power. She does not merely fight Jake and Neytiri physically, she also challenges their entire worldview. By rejecting Eywa, she offers a terrifying vision of a Na'vi future consumed by vengeance, isolation, and fire, something that Neytiri is currently on a path to. Maybe she would be tempted to join them in the future, maybe she resists it in the end, who knows? James Cameron himself has called her a reflection of the worst parts of humanity in a Na'vi form, confirming that Varang and the Mangkwan aren't just new antagonists, they're a thematic warning of what happens when connections to nature is severed and when trauma becomes a weapon. So in the upcoming movie, the Ash people of the Na'vi is seen to be on the side of the RDA and humanity. This is likely because they've been pushed away from the rest of Na'vi society and no longer follow its values. Many members of the clan are believed to be exiles, Na'vi who were cast out or rejected by their own people for breaking the traditional 3 laws of Eywa, or turning away from Eywa entirely, the spiritual life force that connects all life on Pandora. So holding on to that rejection, they would probably carry a deep grudge against the other clans, seeing them as hypocrites or even weak. Unlike most Na'vi who live in harmony with nature and follow a spiritual path, the Mangkwan seem to admire strength, survival, and struggle. They live in a harsh condition, they wear war paint, and they use brutal weapons, showing that they value power and conflict over peace. In that sense, they may feel more connected to humans who also rely on strength, technology, and force to survive. To the Mangkwan, the RDA might not be enemies, but they might be kindred spirits who fight the same way they do. Also in the trailer, we see Miles Quaritch, now in a Na'vi avatar body, seen to be seeking out the Mangkwan, climbing a mountainside with the volcano in the background. This could actually be a smart diplomatic move on his part. Quaritch might be seeking an alliance with the Mangkwan, and since they both hate the same enemies, the other Na'vis, an alliance with them, with the RDA, could give the Mangkwan protection and purpose, and weaponry, something they don't get from the other clans. Humans also offer something the Mangkwan might want, which is advanced weapons and power. With flamethrowers, explosives, and other war gear from the RDA, they could grow stronger and even intimidate other tribes. Since they've already rejected Eywa and the idea of living in balance, they might see human-style expansions and industry as a better future prospect, one where they don't have to bow to ancient traditions, but instead carve out their own paths by force. This is evident enough when we see Varun, the clan leader, in the trailer wielding a flamethrower as she faces off against Neytiri and the other Na'vi. But as for me, the prospect of seeing the Mangkwan clan and how the goody-goody-good-shoe Na'vi aliens being more grey in morality and actually having a dark side is quite the thrill. Personally, I'm kinda bored with the one with Eywa Omatikaya, and I'm actually more excited with the Mangkwan clan. I don't know, maybe because they seem more familiar with us and more human-like. They're not a utopic tribe or race, but actually a dystopic one like us, Homo sapiens. But never mind me, I'm just a humanity-first kind of guy. And with that, we end this video. Now if you like this one, then watch this other one too, the one in the end screens. And do check out our channel for other dragon monster content, avatar content as well. We might have things you haven't seen before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, fam.